If you told me that my whole week was gonna revolve around a sweater, I wouldn't really believe you, but I'm wearing it, and it did, so.
In the depths of silence, where echoes remain, you were the sunrise, and I was the rain. A collision of souls, opposing in flight. I was the darkness, you yearned for the light. Now you're gone.
I think I'm going out.
And I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Now you're gone. Why did you cut me up, bring me out, and leave me high and dry?
I have been stuck in the house most of winter, especially the last 2 weeks because of the snow and the cold. I had to get out. On Sunday, we went to like a little coffee shop. I found this, and then we stopped at Goodwill, and we got like a Celine Dion CD and another one. We're listening to it in the truck on the way home, and it just clicked. It was like returning to some memory of listening to CDs or tapes at home when I was a kid. I don't know, it's undescribable when you find the right moment or experience or object that kind of reflects something in yourself. Now that I think about it, there's a lot of pictures of me when I was little wearing red, which is not even something that I do much anymore, and it was not a conscious feeling though. I just was enjoying the moment. Let's leave it at that. Welcome to a new week with me. I've got this lovely thrifted sweatshirt on that I found yesterday. Really good day kind of exploring an area I haven't been to. Did some coffee drinking. Right now though, I am working on a puzzle. I feel like this is a good way to start the day. By the time I started the week, something was stirring in me as if I had found like a piece of information I couldn't before. I work on vision boards for myself every year, and I thought I had kind of figured out the mindset, how I want to function in my day-to-day life, but something about this sweater and the other one I found had a feeling to it that I couldn't put my tongue on before. Wait, put my tongue on. You know when you're looking for a word, you can't quite figure it out, it's on the tip of your tongue. Anyways, it was gloomy, dark. I didn't want to paint, so I think I spent 2 days just redoing said mood board, and I found images that represented what I was starting to figure out. Put in like a picture of a red sweater. This is sounding so dumb, but for me it works. As soon as I see things, they start to connect me to other ideas or open up opportunities, and it's this weird web of words, objects, spaces, inspiration photos. Yeah, I was getting hyped, and I can't describe it well, but it basically kicked off my whole week with this desire to really hone in on things about myself that I don't have clear words for. Anytime I'm doing these vision boards or imagining my future, it's not to change myself. I'm always wanting to narrow in and refine how I understand who I am with words, with pictures, with a day-to-day attitude. And that sounds all very airy-fairy and intuitive because it can be. There's physical actions that go with it too. Obviously I had to get something done. I only worked like 2 or 3 days that week on my painting because of the weather just being not good. My head was all over the place. I did more writing than painting maybe, but when I did sit down to paint, it was for a good several hours at a time. I was too focused even to want to pick up my camera for the most part. Sometimes I struggle with that because once you're in a flow of working and it feels good, pulling out the camera and setting it up and hitting record is like very irksome. But basically the goal was to get the second layer of paint on, to make things opaque, start finding the edges of objects and exploring a little bit of what I want to do with color and gradating one color to another, just starting to build that and not taking anything up all the way to finished in any area, just overall second layer. I did a good chunk of that, even though I was only working a couple days. Sometimes you just need a few focused blocks of time to work instead of working, 24/7. At least for me, I've discovered that and allowed myself to kind of continue that. Today started kind of rough, but I got in about 3 hours of painting and I'm feeling a little better. I am really loving this new red sweater though. It is the pop of color needed on such a great day. I've been a little bit too in the zone to film. Most of the progress this morning has been in her face and then slowly building up that outside area. I can finally see the warmth on that left side. I didn't really finish these bags, but for some reason I kind of like their looser shape right now. Back to my point about there are some physical ways to keep refining my identity, and they are the less fun, the less shiny ways of doing it. Once you've got the Pinterest board, the sketches, the drawings, or something that makes you feel like a newer self, you still have to do the actions. I'll admit that I think the last 2 days I did not have good days. I barely painted, if at all. I definitely didn't really film, but winter kind of gets to me at some point. The gloominess and just feeling like I've been doing the same thing over and over. I'm still working on a plan to shake things up, but it's like every time I set some sort of new goal or thing that I want to do, it kind of backfires in some way, but that is my own fault. I love my family and I always want to see them, but still the idea of leaving my workspace, leaving the studio is hard because I'm always worrying about what could be done instead. But it was my little brother's birthday, so missing out on that was kind of not gonna happen. I will never regret time spent with family, ever, ever, ever. It is so satisfying in the end, knowing that you're fostering a relationship that will be there in 30 plus years and more. Like, that's the important part. It doesn't even matter if the day was perfect or not. Definitely doesn't matter. I mean, I try to make anything enjoyable, but you can't control it all. So on our way home, I was just thinking about that, living the dream life or this ideal version of myself. It doesn't really come from those goals or some desire to be a millionaire. I mean, you can have those things, but just making sure that the way I enter day-to-day life suits a mindset and an approach that I like, that's everything. Because if you like that, how you handle and carry yourself in every day, years, decades later, you won't regret that. You will have been satisfied at every step. It's the same as finding a sweater that just clicks and it's like, oh yeah, that's me. That has something in me. There's not really words for it. It's not a numbers-based requirement for a good life or the person you want to be. It's just a feeling, and a feeling can be everything. As I was thinking about all these things and doing writing on the same topics, I wrote a list of all the things that I'm enthusiastic about, that light me up, and it becomes very clear and honest what matters to me. And it's not even the things that I would expect usually. But anyways, it kind of leads to like the other thing that went on in the following week. I have been wanting to buy and set up a new dresser in my space because I have clothing overflowing from every corner in the winter. Things are just big, they take up space. In the past, I probably would have just gotten rid of more stuff, thinking that was the answer for simplifying. And I put this off, and finally I was like, okay, we're going to IKEA, I need a dresser. The whole process just reminds me that anytime I have a desire to do things or fix things, I really should just do it. I'm so good at suppressing my wants. Like, treating myself is hard. Buying the things that I need for what I'm making is hard. Yvonne does a great job of reminding me to like pursue those natural instincts and my taste, because otherwise, what's the point? There's so much to that I need to work on. And becoming more clear with what I like, what I want, and what makes me happy is so useful for that. A lot of people think that to simplify your life, you need to just get rid of stuff, do less, and I was the same. Quit a relationship, stop talking to someone, get rid of belongings, and that doesn't really work if what you're left with still isn't true to yourself. I've just realized lately that you have to add things. You have to have this messy process of editing and finding what lights you up, especially as an artist. Because if you're not following your taste, you never really make the next thing, or you don't even make to the best of your ability, really. I've found that it's important for me to pursue those small wants. If I struggle to do even those little things, oh, it definitely means some dream, big dream inside me somewhere is being squashed, even if I don't fully comprehend that. Once I got all of that organized and cleaned up, I felt so good. I wanted to get dressed properly. I wanted to get out of my bed. I didn't really want to leave my bedroom though because it felt so nice. So thus, the next day was just me cleaning the studio. Anytime I'm not feeling good, I tend to prioritize my space, and yesterday I did a new dresser for my clothes that were overflowing. Today, kind of situated a little doggy area that is a bit better than having Mr. Banana right next to the door. Moved some things around, cleaned up a little bit. I've been meaning to do that all since the start of the year, and finally doing it is very rewarding. There's many phases to a fresh start. It doesn't happen in a day, and I'm making progress. I will definitely be painting this week, only for a couple of days though, so try and be very focused tomorrow. I love cleaning and organizing a space. It does kind of feel like I'm distracting myself, but it's worth it. It's worth it to go visit family. It's worth it to fix up the space, to go out and find things that make me excited. It's so valuable, and it's not actually easy to do all the time. So you have to push yourself a little. I swear I did do work this week though, literally only yesterday, but it was for a good several hours, and I think I've pretty much gotten the second layer of the painting figured out. Not all of it, but I think I approached the day with very clear mind. You know, my space was finally settled a bit more. I found it easy to pack up at a good time when it got dark, when I felt a little tired. I wasn't dissatisfied with what hadn't been done, even though I painted only once this week, which for me, I feel really proud that my week wasn't what I expected, but I was still grateful for how it turned out and everything I got done recently. That's an accomplishment because I have an issue with thinking that I have to be doing work in a certain way to be proud of myself. Basically, I feel the best when my decisions for how to spend the day or do with my life come from actually an emotion or a feeling about myself and not a specific goal. It can be easy to steer my boat metaphorically the wrong way when I'm only thinking about outcomes and a certain look, like how will people perceive this. I get lost really quickly when I do that. So thinking about what I want to feel in myself, in my space, as I'm working is way more valuable because then I can change how today is. I don't have to wait for something to happen. It starts in here, and that beats goals. Because then if I'm slow or things don't go a certain way, I don't have to feel pulled down. I can live in that moment and still love whatever happens next. For me, that's balance. That's a simple life, understanding yourself from a holistic point of view. Thank you, Red Sweater.